GAS.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to All Gas, All Georgia Sports. I am glad you are here. Got a great show for you today. And you know what? Happy Friday. It's Friday. It's time to end the week off with a bang and to have some fun. And in today's show, we're going to, as always, start off with a little bit of trivia for you guys. We're going to do a Mets-Braves recap, unfortunately. But it was a good game. It was a fun game. At least I was involved emotionally until the end, so that's something. We are going to have some top five for you guys. It's Top 5 Friday, and today's topic is the top 5 teams that I hate the most. And then we're going to go through some tweets. Aaron Rodgers is a drug addict. That's something we have to address. And the Auburn quarterback is arrested for evading the police. So, some good stuff. I'm glad you are here, and let's get this kicked off with some trivia. So, your trivia question today is, we're going to test your Braves fandom. How well do you really know the Braves? How much do you love the Braves? Real Braves lovers should know this. The trivia question is, what is Chipper Jones' real name? What is his given name? Chipper Jones. What's his name? So as always, we're going to circle back around on that at the end of the episode, so stay tuned. We always close it out with the answer to our trivia question. So I'm going to go right into it. I'm going to do a little Braves-Mets recap, and, I'm not even going to really recap the Wednesday game, the Wednesday Phillies game. We did lose 1-3, and of course it was, at noon on a Wednesday. That's just a thing now, I guess. On Wednesdays, they play right in the middle of the day, so no one can enjoy it. But at least it wasn't, the final game of, like, the most anticipated series up to this point, like it was with the Mets, whatever it was a few weeks ago when I got really pissed off about that. I really was pissed off at myself. Because I didn't know. But anyways, Braves lost they've lost 2 in a row at this point, and the Mets just keep winning. After we just steamrolled the Phillies on, what was that? I guess that would have been Tuesday night. We steamrolled the Phillies, and I was like, okay, well, cool. Here we go, Mets. We're back. We're on. All good. We're fine. Get ready to get slaughtered, and then we lost the next game, and then tonight, anyways, I don't know. The final score of the Braves-Mets game 1 of the series, was Braves 4, Mets 6. And I said, opening that I did enjoy this game, and that's because, it felt, what's the word I'm looking for? The tension was there. The tension was where I expected it to be, and it stayed that way through the end of the game, because in the top of the ninth, we were down 2, and we had a runner on second, and Arcia was up, and Michael Harris was on deck. Acuna was after him, so we had a little bit of momentum, and it was 3-0, so 2 outs. We had a runner on second. It was Eddie Rosario was on second, and it was 3-0 to Arcia. And I'm like, okay, hell yeah. Walk's coming. Here we go. And he throws what would have been ball 4. And Arcia kind of does this check swing, and he hits the ball by accident. It was like an accidental bunt that just kind of rolled to the pitcher, and he threw him out. It was very it had this not like that kind of feeling about it. You know what I mean? It had this, it was akin to, although to a much lesser degree, but it was akin to Chris Conley kind of accidentally catching that tipped ball in the 2012 SEC Championship, where all you could think of was just not like that. Not like that. We can't lose like that. You know what I mean? Like a check swing, accidental hit. I think Chip Carey was like, oh, and he hit it by mistake. And then it just rolled into the first, and he was out. So all of our momentum just died. I mean, the game was over. And, we kept it close. At one point, we got down 5-0, and then in one inning, we scored 3 runs. And that was, I can't remember what inning that was, but, someone, I think, got on second and a base hit, scored somebody or whatever. But then Acuna hit a 2-run bomb, dead center, which was great to see, because Acuna has been ice cold, Antarctic cold, Arctic Ocean cold, Pluto cold for the last month. Acuna has sucked. I mean, it was his first home run in God knows how long. He's had before maybe Tuesday night, he had 2 RBIs in a whole month. So Acuna's just not been himself. He has not been the dude. Someone tweeted, I wish I'd saved this tweet actually, because I could have given him some credit, but whoever you are, if you listen to this, then you'll know that I'm thinking about you. But someone tweeted, it's weird when Acuna gets up and I'm nervous. Like Acuna gets up in a clutch moment and I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. And that's how you feel with Acuna right now. But he did hit a bomb to his credit, although he did celebrate pretty hard after that bomb and then struck out the very next at bat. And it was a clutch situation too. So I'm like, God, dude, come on. But hopefully he's back on track. We really need him to start finding his form because these Mets are good. This is a great team that they have in New York. Their pitching is stellar. Their starting pitching is phenomenal. They've got, just between DeGrom and Scherzer, it's ridiculous. Their pitching is so good. And who do they have pitching tonight? Because this pitcher tonight had, coming into this game, the longest streak in the MLB for scoreless innings. He had like 23 straight scoreless innings. The starter was Carlos Carrasco, and he's really good. So the Mets just have great pitching. Their hitting, obviously, has been on point. And yeah, they're not fake, They're not this kind of shallow, lacking any depth and conviction team that we've all known the Mets to be. They are a real team that is really, really good, and we need Acuna to keep up with them. It's that simple. And we need our pitching to do the same because that's been the clear, at least that was the clear difference last series with the Mets, was the starting pitching. We've got some dudes. There's no question about it. But it always becomes abundantly clear late in the season and in the playoffs that pitching is what's going to bring you to the promised land. And it did last year, especially considering how our bullpen did last year. R.I.P. Will Smith, R.I.P. at least for his life as a Brave. But, our bullpen and our starting pitching won us the World Series. Because we didn't score like 10 runs in all those games. We had some really clutch pitching. I would say of the top, 5 moments in all the playoffs last year, a number of them were pitching moments. What come to my mind right off the top of my head is Tyler Matzik against the Dodgers. Unreal. Charlie Morton striking someone out after he broke his leg. That's just cool. That's just a highlight of just someone's life. Max Fried in Game 6 after struggling and then coming back and dominating. Of course, I also think about Freddie Freeman's homer off of Josh Hader. I think of Eddie Rosario. I think of Jorge Soler's home run in the World Series. So obviously there's a lot of really big hitting moments too, but really and truly, pitching is just, it's what's going to do it for you. And the Mets have that. And the Mets have been better than us. Let's see some notable stats for you guys. Let me run through this. One thing I'll say too, speaking of hitting, even though our pitching, because Kyle Wright started first tonight, he struggled. I want to say he gave up 5. Let me see if they counted 5 actual earned runs against him. No, they gave him 6 earned runs. So he went 7 innings. He went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, and had 6 earned runs. And he was just, he left a few balls just right over the plate. You know what I mean? There was a few of them got away from him. He didn't really look like he crumbled. It just was one of those things where, early in the game, they were up 2, and then Pete Alonso hit a 2-run home run, so that's down 4, so that's tough. And then he had a couple of solid innings, and then, they just kind of he gave up a solo shot at one point. So anyways, Kyle Wright was not his, at least not what we've seen him this year. But notable stats hitting-wise is, the main thing that I wrote down here as far as a note's concerned, and good buddy of mine, Robbie, I know you're out there, and I know you're probably listening. I love you. He texted me, and he said, if your 2 through 4 hitters go a combined 0 for 11, you're not going to beat a team like the Mets, and he's absolutely right. 2 through 4, Swanson, Olsen, and Riley went a combined 0 for 11. Riley did get a walk, so that's cool, but they just, and it was like, I don't know if this happened every single time. I don't have the, actual kind of stat sheet right in front of me for this, but I know that, like, Swanson had a couple of really early outs. like first pitch swings, second pitch swings, pop-ups, ground-outs. It's kind of just they weren't really putting together these competitive at-bats. Riley did have that walk, but I mean that was the highlight from our 2 through 4 hitters who have been absolutely lights out, perfect for the last 2 months now. So everyone's got an off night. They just so happen to have had the same off night on the exact same day and game, and that sucked. So yeah, we lost, but it was still really interesting toward the end. I was still in it throughout. And it's funny because the Hall of Fame game was today. The first NFL game was today. It was the Hall of Fame game against the Oakland Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I didn't care at all because it's Mets Braves. This has been this is the most important series that we've had all year. And because it's the longest series that we're going to have continuous with the Mets at any stretch, we do have them for 4 later this month. Or it's early September, one of the two. But we have them for 4. That's going to be huge. But we're 4.5 games back right now. And we've got 4 games left in this series. We've got to come out of this series with some wins. If they go 4-1 against us, it's not looking good. We're still looking fine for the wild card, which is a good thing. And we have a pretty substantial lead in the wild card. I think we're like 6.5 games up. We're either 6.5 games up on the Padres, or we're 6.5 games up over like the teams who are out of it right now. But we have a comfortable lead there. But no need to rest on our laurels here, you guys. We still have plenty of baseball to go, and need to step up, and this series is huge. So, and it's not going to get any easier. It's not. I mean, the Mets. I don't know who's pitching for them, but I mean, who they have, and we still have to face them. So, time for the Braves to step it up. But yeah, the Hall of Fame game, no one cares. At least no one in Atlanta should care. But I will say that both Zamir White and Trayvon Walker had some of the best highlights of that game, at least when I had, caught some of those in like the third quarter. I think it's still happening while I'm recording right now, actually, but that goes to show how much I paid attention to that. But Zamir White had a great-looking run. He had like a 20-yard run where he just, broke some tackles, made some moves, danced around a bit, and he got upfield quick. Great to see him. I hope he has a wonderful career because what an awesome story. From the injuries that guy's had, tearing both ACLs, and then coming back to win a national championship, and then making it into the league, into the NFL, and looking good, looking explosive, looking powerful. Really hope that guy succeeds. So, way to go, buddy. And Trayvon Walker was just, bullying people. And, I don't know if they have all their starters in. Maybe it's the second team against the first team or third team. Who knows? But, whatever it is, they're NFL players. They're grown-ass men. They're big guys. And Trayvon Walker had a couple of really good-looking sacks. One of them got called pass interference. And pass interference has gotten, kind of comical these days. He got a pass interference call where it was simultaneous. The quarterback let go of the ball, and Trayvon Walker hit his face or whatever. Yeah, called a penalty on him. Stupid, so stupid. So, anyways, good for both of those guys. Way to represent for UGA, and God, it's going to be fun watching these guys in the NFL. That's something that I think. So, my wife has caught on to this. She's always like, man, how do you know so much about some of these NFL players? And I'm like, look, when you're from the South and you watch as much college football as we do, you get to follow these guys from when they're recruits. I remember Nick Chubb, when he was recruited to come to play at UGA, in the picture that went viral was him doing his warm-up jump at a track meet. Remember that? Hardcore UGA fans will know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a picture of Nick Chubb just jumping before a track meet. He said it was just a part of his warm-up, and he looked like he jumped 8 stories in the air. Literally, him just doing a standing jump, he could have, at least cleared, a, by anyone's standards, tall person. It looked like he could have easily cleared, someone who was standing there still at, 6'4". So, yeah, we've seen these guys from such a young age. I've seen a lot of these guys when there was hype about us recruiting them and seeing where they're coming from, seeing what high school they're from, seeing what their high school stats were, seeing if they're coming from, when DeAndre Swift came down here from Pennsylvania. Aaron Murray came up here from Florida. Like, I remember sitting literally when I was in high school, I was around the lunch table, and this guy was like, "Hey man, did you hear about this quarterback we're getting from Florida? He's legit, Aaron Murray." It's like, what? Who knows that? SEC football fans know that. And so we know these kind of things. We watch them, we see them develop, we see who they become as these college players. You root for them. Even on other teams, you see like standouts from teams like Alabama and South Carolina or Tennessee or Florida, whoever. And then when you see them go to the NFL and succeed, you have this wealth of knowledge about them that just makes it fun to watch NFL. It makes it that much more fun to watch the NFL for me personally, because I've got guys all over the league that I root for. Now it's Falcons, obviously, hands down and first, but yeah, man, I'm pulling for Matthew Stafford. I like seeing what AJ Green ends up doing. I'm gonna enjoy seeing what Trayvon Walker does. I can't wait to see, you know, um, what DeAndre Swift does this year up in Detroit. People think he's really gonna have an incredible year up there. We'll see, but I hope so. I'm pulling for it. Like when Sony Michel won the Super Bowl with the Patriots, it was like, I wasn't a huge Patriots fan necessarily because it was immediately following or 2 years after the heartbreak we experienced. But it was cool seeing Sony Michel succeed. So you know what I'm saying? Like, great to see all these dogs, and it's going to just keep getting better for us because we have so much talent at the University of Georgia now, and we always have. We've always had a healthy stock of UGA alumni in the NFL, but that number is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, how many guys did we have in the first round this year? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to look around these NFL defenses, and you're going to see a lot of familiar names making a lot of big time plays. And you're going to get to say, man, I remember watching them at Georgia. I remember watching that guy in the national championship game. And I know that no matter where he goes in the NFL, even if he's playing for the stupid Saints, I know that deep in his heart, he's going to go back to Athens one day and get a warm welcome, and a smile is going to completely come across his face, and it's going to warm his entire soul being back in Athens because he is a Georgia Bulldog. So love seeing our dogs in the NFL. That was much longer of a segment that I was planning to spend on that Hall of Fame game, because other than that, yeah, don't care about that at all. So going to move on to some tweets here before I get to a couple of other stories. Don't have too many for you guys right now. No reason. Just don't. I only have 3. So first one, and they're not even that exciting, but I'm going to share them with you anyways. One of them's exciting. One of them I'm going to recommend that you guys check out yourself. So first one was from U Stadium at U Stadium. Drake London has been an absolute madman out at the Falcons camp. He is the clear-cut best player on that offense. Well, I mean, we do have Kyle Pitts. That's a big statement. I don't know how. Geez, this video's got 634,000 views. It's just him beating a corner and catching. That was a good route. That's a great route. Okay. Well, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Drake London looks to be the truth. I mean, he better be. I mean, he was a really high draft pick, but I think he will. It seems like he's, got that dog in him, I mean, that's kind of what I do love those sort of scouting reports. Love talking. I love those kind of scouting reports where they just go, yeah, he's just got that edge. He's got that dog in him. He's got that fight in him. And, there's a certain part of me that thinks, well, that's silly. Like, we'll see what happens. Because there's been a lot of times, especially as a Falcons fan, you guys, where I've listened to Dan Quinn talk about, that inner fight and that spirit and that, oomph. And I'm like, yeah, man, we got it. We're going to be great. And then we suck. So, yeah, I mean, great to have that dog in you. But that is what many people say about him, and Desmond Ridder for that fact. And a lot of players, they've got that grit. They've got that thing, those intangibles, as one would say. He's a winner, he's just a winner. But yeah, Drake London, I mean, not only does he have the tangibles, being tall and fast and good hands and all that, but a lot of reports are coming out that he has those intangibles as well. And so, yeah, this guy saying he's been the clear-cut best player on the entire offense. I mean, we're not that loaded, but we've got some guys who have been good for a long time, particularly with Cordero Patterson. And I mean, Kyle Pitts, obviously. So saying that, I mean, we'll see. I hope he's right. The next tweet that I saved was from Fox Sports MLB. Uh, and it said Acuna did a curtain call after snapping his 75 at-bat home run drought. And yeah, so after Acuna hit that home run to make it 3-5, we were still losing. And Acuna goes in the dugout and he comes out, takes off his helmet, and starts jumping up and down and throwing his arms up and screaming at Mets fans. I do love a good curtain call in New York. I mean, that's fantastic. But the very next at bat, he struck out. And it was a pretty big moment. You know, we were in a position to tie it like in the 8th inning or maybe 7th inning, but it was later in the game. And we were in a position to, you know, make some moves and maybe had a runner on or something down 2 and he struck out. So it's like, dude, don't do that. You know, save that for after we win. But, you know, whatever. I'm not like upset about this necessarily. I'm happy for Acuna and yeah, I mean, shit, honestly, I don't care. Yeah, do a curtain call in New York. Show all those Mets fans what's up because Mets fans probably weren't happy about it. So, that was just kind of funny. But this next one, a lot of people have been tweeting about this, but I'm going to give this guy the credit here. It was from Roddy Nabulsi, at Roddy Nabulsi. Everyone was fixated on Stetson Bennett's new buzz cut. Everyone calling him what? What are they? Stequavius Bennett? He got this like fade, and he looks, I mean, he looks like he's straight out of basic. But he says, everyone is fixated on Stetson Bennett's new buzz cut. I am more interested in those guns he found. So if anyone hasn't seen this, there's a picture circulating where Stetson Bennett's at practice, and he's got his fade, he's got his buzz cut. He looks way different. But the dude looks jacked. I mean, I know that like in, oh my God, there was a picture a couple of years ago. It was Elijah Holyfield, and it was during like, you know, the camp, you know, leading up to the season or whatever. And there was a picture where Elijah Holyfield looked like he was an anime character. He looked like he was freshly turned Super Saiyan. Was absolutely jacked. His muscles were bulging. His veins were popping out. It was comical, honestly. It was comical at how jacked he looked. And Stetson Bennett kind of looks like that in this picture. I mean, the dude looks jacked. I mean, he has had to have put on some weight and put on a lot of muscle in this offseason. I mean, the dude is really big. Or maybe just he got shorter hair and it makes everything look bigger, you know? I mean, hey, that does happen. But yeah, just look up pictures of Stetson Bennett right now. The dude looks jacked. So who knows? Maybe he becomes, because he's kind of undersized, has been for a while. He's a smart guy. He's that, you know, they call him a game manager, which I think is a slap in the face these days. But because, you know, game managers don't throw 50-yard bombs in a national championship and win you the game. Stetson Bennett did just that. But yeah, he's always been kind of, you know, he's a tiny guy, but not anymore. So he looks, I mean, dude, if he fills out like this and he's fast, I mean, he is fast, but if he gets faster and keeps filling out like this, he might be that kind of Russell Wilson type, that stocky, like bulldozer back there, which I hope so. I'm a big fan of Stetson Bennett. I like him. Of course I do. He just won us a national championship. But, yeah, he just looks huge. So anyways, going to move on. Go check that out for yourself. Going to get into a couple of quick things here before I give you my top 5 teams I hate the most. So first off, Aaron Rodgers needs help. He's a drug addict, you guys. He's a druggie. He's a filthy, dirty druggie. Kidding. Only sort of. So big snooze going around the league right now where Aaron Rodgers credits the use of ayahuasca, the psychedelic drug often taken in tea form, to lead to the best seasons of his career. I believe the last 2 seasons he has experimented with the drug ayahuasca and has had a bit of a spiritual experience, it sounds like, which has allowed him to free his mind and to unconditionally love himself and his teammates. And, you know, following the 2 years that he's done that, he's back-to-back MVP. So what can you say? But in a podcast, this is from Yahoo News, in a podcast interview hosted by wellness guru Aubrey Marcus, the 38-year-old Green Bay Packers quarterback said ayahuasca helped him, quote, see how to unconditionally love himself. It is only in that unconditional self-love, oh man, yeah, he might still be high, that then I am able to truly be able to unconditionally love others. And what better way to work on my mental health than to have an experience like that? The greatest gift I can give my teammates, in my opinion, is to be able to show up and to be someone who can model unconditional love to them. I mean, obviously, it's important that I play well and show up and lead and all that stuff, but they won't care about what you say until they know how much you care. I mean, I do agree with that. So, yeah, I mean, good for you, man. Like, I agree with that in a general sense when it comes to leadership, when it comes to being a teammate. Um, Words certainly hit harder when you know someone really cares. When you know somebody really, it's not about their ego. It's not about, I would imagine, being a professional athlete, it's not about the money. It's not about your stats. It's not about your reputation. It's about, no, man, I care about you. We're on a team. We're in the trenches together, like, and that remains true across a lot of industries. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. And I guess if ayahuasca helped him get there, good for him. And also in February, he talked about trying a 12-day panchakarma cleanse, which involved butter, laxatives, and abstaining from sugar, sex, and alcohol. Wow. Okay. All right. Um, so yeah, Aaron Rodgers is getting out there, man. He, I will say, full disclosure, drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. Be cool, be safe. But Aaron Rodgers is getting experimental in his latter half of his career, and I mean, I can't say that's entirely the reason that he's had the success that he's had, but seems to play a part in it. So good for him, I guess. So moving on from that, Auburn Tigers quarterback TJ Finley charged with attempting to elude the police. So TJ Finley was arrested. This was kind of funny, actually. Got arrested. This was somewhat big news, I think, especially because he just signed a huge NIL agreement with Amazon, actually. So he is the first college football player to ink a name, image, and likeness deal with online retail giant Amazon. But what happened was he, where'd it go? This is from ESPN.com. Wait for it. According to Auburn police, the arrest stems from several traffic violations Finley made on July 26th. Police say Finley was not wearing a helmet while on a motorcycle and fled from officers attempting to make a traffic stop on 2 separate occasions. Officers, quote, terminated the pursuit on both occasions as a matter of safety. Those are very dangerous. Cop chases are cool, but they're deadly. And Finley's attorney called the arrest a misunderstanding. I mean, I guess that's what they're paying you for, to like spin things, but there's not much of a misunderstanding of when a cop turns his lights on, you like are supposed to stop. That's pretty black and white. Most people know that. So I don't know if there's a misunderstanding there, but I don't know the whole story, so maybe there's more to it. But the pending charges against my client are the result of traffic violations and a misunderstanding. The charges are in the process of being handled in municipal court. The city of Auburn, as well as all transportations are, yada, yada. TJ learned of the charges, so he didn't get, arrested in the chase. He learned of the charges, and he turned himself in and has been released on bond. He signed for himself. Hell yeah, he signed for himself. Signing that NIL deal, baby. He's like, cash or check, you know what I mean? But good for him. He learned of the charges and he turned himself in. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the right thing to do. That's the mature thing to do. So, yeah, man, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. He's a kid. He's in college. We do just dumb stuff. I know I did. So anyways, yeah, and I wonder, too, how that's going to affect these NIL deals. Like, if you sign this name, image, and likeness, and then you get arrested, is there a clause in your contract with how much money you're making? Like, these kids might learn real quick what happens when you step out of line and you're getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, how many professional athletes have had their marketing value take a hit from, I don't know, getting arrested, stepping out politically, acting just, dumb. I don't know. There's a lot of things that can affect your marketability and whether or not companies want to be associated with you. So if some of these companies and players are signing big deals, they're going to get hit with some of these realities much sooner than they would have otherwise. So just going to be, there's no opinion in that piece. It's just more so interesting to think about, like, what's that going to do to some of these players? And are we going to see, because college kids are, they're 18 years old, they're going to make mistakes. So what kind of a leash are these guys going to have on them? How loose are these schools and companies and agencies going to be with these kids if they do step out and get really drunk at a party and they're not 21 yet and they do something dumb? That's just I don't know where I'm going with that. Just something to think about. So anyways, good for TJ Finley, though, for turning himself in when he learned of the charges. Good for him. It's the right thing to do. You shouldn't have eluded police in the first place, but you man up, you go in, you say, here's the deal, and you write him a check with that Amazon money. So there you go. Okay, on to our final segment, the Top 5 Friday. It's a new segment we started last Friday. Please go check out last Friday's episode if you haven't already. Last Friday, I did my top 5 favorite Falcons games of all time. A wonderful little piece of nostalgia there. At least it was for me. I hope it was for you too. But today's top 5 is the top 5 teams I hate the most. Now, granted, I'm going to revisit some of these top 5 lists, like, in years to come. And I'm curious to see how this is going to change, because if I had done this, let's say 5 years ago, the Patriots would have absolutely been on this list. They're not. They're not on this list anymore. So this will change, but there are some teams that will always be on this list, and I think you guys know who I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and start out. Number 5, top 5 teams I hate the most. Number 5 is Alabama, and what I wrote down here was heartbreak, jealousy, inferiority. That's honestly how I felt about Alabama for a long time, but they have gone down my list. So they would have probably been at like 2 or 3. They've gone down to 5 because I don't feel that same way about Alabama anymore. Now, it's still fresh that Alabama had basically a decade. The 2010s were the year of Alabama breaking our dumb, stupid, gullible little hearts. Alabama, it started in 2012. And there was this moment, especially during the Mark Richt days, where we would have these moments throughout a season where we would get so hyped. We'd be like, oh my God, Georgia's great. We're going to be so good. And we were playing really good, and we would go into a big game against an Alabama. Happened on a number of occasions where, I'm like, this is it. This is the year. And I think the players are thinking that too. They get too hyped almost, and we would just get stomped. And then when we weren't necessarily getting stomped, we were losing in these heartbreaking fashions. So let's just give you 3 right off the bat. And the problem too here is that every time we lost, it was a Hollywood-type ending for them. You know what I mean? That's the problem with Atlanta sports. When people talk about the Atlanta curse, the Georgia sporting curse, this is what it is. It's not just that we lose big games. It's in the way that we lose them. You could write a movie script for the teams that beat us. So you have the Chris Conley catch in 2012. That sucked. That was an amazing game, and it ended in just such a truly horrifying fashion. But if you fast forward a little bit, national championship against Alabama. I mean, we all know what happened. Jalen Hurts comes in, and we're destroying. We're going to win a national championship. At halftime, Nick Saban puts in a freshman quarterback to lead his team in the national championship, and he does. He walks it off in overtime on a 50-yard bomb after we sacked them and got him out of field goal position. I mean, dude, worst, oh God, sucked. And that was immediately following the same year, mind you, that we had just lost the Super Bowl. So, okay, another Hollywood ending for the other team. Tom Brady comes back from 21-3 in the last quarter. Okay, there's going to be a movie written about that. Alabama, boom. Tua Tagovailoa comes in, throws the game winner after he leads his team back from the second half, leads them to glory. Who would have known? Oh my God, what a great story. Cover of Sports Illustrated. Let's all, get emotional about it and talk about what an inspiring young man and a good teammate Jalen Hurts is. Yeah, great, fantastic. Then the very next year, our redemption game against Alabama in the SEC championship game, what happens? We start smacking around Tua Tagovailoa. We go, not this year, buddy. Not this year, kid. This is our year. This is our time. And then what happens? Halftime, Nick Saban puts in the quote-unquote great teammate, and he is a great teammate. It is a good story. You know what I mean? Then Jalen Hurts gets to come back in, and then he leads his team to glory and does the same thing that his replacement did the year before. Are you kidding me? And then they win? I mean, dude. Oh, I hate Alabama for that. It sucks. It sucks so bad. And last year, when they won the SEC championship game last year, I was like, here we go again. Alabama. And it keeps being Alabama. And then the story becomes, can Kirby Smart get over the hurdle? Then the story becomes, can Kirby Smart ever beat his former coach? Few people have until Jimbo did it last year. So Alabama, and it's just always them. But, like I said, they have moved down on this list because I now do not feel any heartbreak, jealousy, or inferiority with Alabama anymore. And I haven't for the last couple years. Even after that last SEC championship game, Kirby Smart has done such a good job at recruiting and making a new kind of culture and feel with this entire team that it is. We have taken that next step above the Mark Richt level, and the Mark Richt level was really good. I mean, let's not forget, he was a great coach for a long time, but Kirby Smart is that next step up, and he's taken us to a place. He's won us a national championship. He's taken us to that place of being in the conversation with teams like Alabama consistently, where people now know what we're about. We know what we're about. As fans, we know what we're about. And yeah, Alabama, I now get kind of excited about our place with them. So, yeah, but still hate them. Number 5 is Alabama. Number 4, you guys might be surprised at how low this team is right now, but my number 4 hated team right now is the Florida Gators. Now, I will say this. My notes here is this team will always make the list. And I put jean short wearing, mullet having, tattoo financing freaks, but they don't scare me. That was my note. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, that's how I feel about Florida. They stink. They're stupid. I hate them. But they don't scare me anymore. I honestly, I kind of, I'm hesitant to say this. I kind of feel for them. I almost want them to be better so that I can hate them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've just been so not even an issue, not even a threat anymore. Like, I hate them so much because of how they beat up on us in like the 2000s, the Tim Tebow era. I mean, we did beat them that one year when we had like Matt Stafford and Noshawn Marino and AJ Green. That was a great year. We should have gone to the national championship that year, but that's for another day. But you know, Florida beat up on us a lot for a long time until recently, and now they just stink. They're not scary at all anymore. So, yeah, I mean, but I still hate them, and they're stupid. And I know a lot of Florida fans. A lot of Florida fans live here. Here's something, too, that you're going to realize about how great the state of Georgia is. Part of the reason that I hate some of these teams so much is because of their fans. But the reason why I hate their fans is because there's so many of them that move to Georgia. Because Georgia is way better. Atlanta's a great city. So much better than stupid. Well, I'm going to save some of the other cities. So, okay, Florida, number 4. They're always going to make the list just because it's Florida. And, you know, speaking of Florida, the same colors, basically, as Florida are the dumbass Mets. So the Mets are my number 3 most hated team. My notes here says the fans show up and they're loud as fuck. They think they've arrived, and what really sucks is they're really good. Yeah, it's true, and they're the same colors as Florida too. I've been noticing that lately. They really do have like the exact same shades of blue and orange, which make me hate them even more. But Mets fans, a lot of them live here. A lot of them live here. Why? Because Atlanta's great. But if you go to a Mets game at Truist Park, there's going to be a lot of Mets fans there. They show up for their team. They're loud. Their fans are obnoxious. And, you know, they've been, for a long time, my most hated, like, in-division, like, rival. You know what I mean? Like, the Mets have been the team that I've liked the least in our division. Like, I don't really get that worked up about the Nationals or even, like, the Marlins. The Phillies are there. You know what I mean? They're Mets level for me, but not even Mets necessarily. A lot of that's in part to their success recently, and the Mets are really, really good right now. So I especially hate them now, especially because they just beat us. But Mets are number 3. Number 2 right now for my most hated teams is the Los Angeles Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. They are my number 2 team, 100%. My notes here is the Yankees did it first. You're not cool. No one likes you. You suck. Freddie Freeman's... okay. Start that sentence over. Freddie Freeman knows we're better, and if he became a broadcaster, he would 100% do it for the Braves and not for the stupid Dodgers. That's true. Freddie Freeman cried when he came back. People don't really do that. Freddie Freeman misses it here. And yeah, the Dodgers are just like the Yankees now. They just buy whoever they want. But like for some reason, if the Yankees do it, I don't mind. I don't know if anyone else has this kind of feeling about them. Like, there are certain teams, and maybe it's silly for me to think this way, but I just do. It's how I think. Like Notre Dame being really good and not belonging to a conference. I'm okay with that. It's Notre Dame. I want them to be good. The Yankees, I want the Yankees to be good, and I want the Yankees to just buy all their players. For whatever reason, I know that they do it, and I know that like there's a lot of shit to talk about that, but I don't care. I kind of like that we have a team like that, but it's the Yankees. It's not the Dodgers. Get out of here, Dodgers. What are you doing? You're not the Yankees. No one cares. No one likes you. You're dumb. You're stupid. You stink. And I just really don't like that team. Like, yeah, I mean, for the last number of years, they have been, I think, the Braves' biggest hurdle in the National League, clearly, because we had 3 years in a row with some really important and really big playoff series against them that came down to the wire, and they won in a heartbreaking fashion for us 2 years ago. So last year, when we finally beat them in the playoffs, it was very poetic, very exciting. But there's something about them, and they're good. I mean, they are really good. You know what I mean? So I think some of these teams that are good, you kind of like, you hate them, but you respect them. But whenever I respect a team that I hate them more. And that is going to be the theme of my number one team that I hate the most. And my number one team is the New Orleans Saints. Stupid Saints. And here's my notes about them. I just said, what do I hate? Everything. Their fans, mostly. I have met some truly horrible Saints fans. They beat us a lot. And the hard truth of it is, this was tough for me to write down, but bear with me, you guys. The hard truth of it is, their home field advantage is better than the Falcons. Their fans are more rabid. They have a better culture, and I hate it. I also hate how much I like visiting their city. I love their food, and I love the weird voodoo shit. I love the way that they talk. I love that New Orleans has its own little brand of Southern. It infuriates me at how cool they are sometimes. But most people, here's the kicker, most people move out of New Orleans to Atlanta because New Orleans sucks, and it's hot, and it's a terrible place to live. It's only a fun place to visit. It's stinky. It smells like piss. It's dangerous, whatever, which is, and the reason we know so many Saints fans is because they moved here. It's because Atlanta's a better place to live. And so, suck it, New Orleans. But I cannot stand the New Orleans Saints. And it really is, you guys. I don't know what it is. Like, they really do just have a lot of stuff that they do better than us, and we need to admit that so that we can fix it. First step of a problem is admitting that there is one. Falcons home field advantage compared to the Saints, you can't even compare the two. I watch Falcons games, and I'm infuriated when they're at home because of how terrible our home field advantage is so much of the time. I have season tickets this year. I'm going to be there. We got good seats. I spent my life savings. Not actually, but they were expensive, but less expensive because of how bad we were last year. Anyways, I'm going to be close to the field, bringing the hype. I hope you guys are going to join me, because I'm ready to seriously see the culture of the Falcons change, because I don't understand why people at the stadium aren't like in their seats getting loud. And here's my theory. I want to see if you guys can follow me here. I think that Falcons fandom is about to become a lot more serious. Here's why. Millennials love the Falcons because what did millennials experience? We've talked about this before. What creates a rabid fan base? A consistency of winning, okay? And of just being awesome, right? And so people who grew up elementary school in the 90s and, kind of grew up throughout the 2000s in their middle school years. We had the 98 Falcons that went to the Super Bowl. Immediately following that, we had the Vic years all the way up through like 06. Anyone who was just alive in Atlanta during that period of time, I don't care if you were a baby, you remember Michael Vick and how electric that was. That era alone created a generation of diehard Falcons fans. It just did. There's no way it couldn't. It was that electric and that cool. And then we had one little weird little year between Vic and Matt Ryan, and then we drafted Matt Ryan in an 08. And I think he took us to a playoff game in his rookie year. I mean, immediately, boom, Matt Ryan was on there, and he was great for a long time. Hall of Fame quarterback, he's great. Can't wait. Go Matt Ryan. I wish you all the success in the world up in Indy. But we have had 20 years, more than 20 years, 24 years in a row of them being good. And what are millennials doing now? They have better jobs. They're becoming successful. They're buying homes. They're settling down. They're having their kids. They're getting their wives. They're making money. They have enough to spend on things like Falcons games. A lot of people live in the city. More so, a lot of people who grew up outside of the city who love the Falcons moved into the city because the city of Atlanta is great. They've done a lot of wonderful things in the last 10 years inside the perimeter to make it a very attractive city for younger people and for generations between the age of like 25 and 35. The city of Atlanta is a great place to be right now, even though it's getting a little expensive. But my theory is that now that millennials are in a place where they can afford to go to Falcons games, because NFL games, it's an expensive task. It's an expensive thing to do. So more of us live in the city now. More people have money. And there's a generation of fans who grew up only knowing the Falcons as being really cool and exciting. They are going to start buying tickets. Because before, the only people who were buying tickets were like dads and older people. And the guys, in the 80s and the 90s, the Falcons weren't really shit. I mean, we had some exciting stuff. But the point being is, I think that the Falcons fandom is pressurizing. I know that it is with me. This is the first year I bought season tickets, and I'm going to be there, loud and proud. So let's go Falcons, rise up. And with that being said, I want us to have a culture of fandom that rivals that of the dumbass Saints because I'm jealous of them. I envy them. They are a good team first and foremost. Drew Brees gave them success for a very long time. Credit where credit is due. He's the man, okay? It's true. But Saints fans, just shut up because you suck and you're the most annoying people. I mean, they're mean about it. The Saints fans are just like mean about things. They're obnoxious. And I know that every team has got, we're all human beings. There's 7 billion people on the planet. I'm sure there's Falcons fans out there in the world that I will dislike just as much as Saints fans. But per capita, Saints fans have driven me crazy more than any other team. And they're a good team. And they just have a lot of, it's one of those things that, what's a Tennessee fan going to talk trash to a Georgia fan about these days? We'll just kind of go, okay, just look at us and you'll know that we're cooler. The Saints have had moments like that in the past years where that's kind of been the case, where especially when you just watch one of their games in New Orleans, their home field advantage is insane. It's crazy. So, hats off to them. It's also all they have. It's all you have, New Orleans. All you have is the Saints, okay? So that's why you enjoy it so much. All of your fandom is pressurized and funneled into this stupid black and gold. And you know what else sucks? My wife loves their uniforms. She loves black and gold. And they do look sick when they're all blacked out. It's true, okay? I hate the Saints because I love so many things about them, but I hate that it's them. So number one, 100% teams that I hate on this list, Top 5 Friday is 100% the New Orleans Saints. So let's wrap up this show. The answer to your trivia question is, let me get in a better mood here. So, Braves fans, do you know this? How well do you know Chipper Jones? The trivia question is, what is Chipper Jones, Braves legend? What is his real name? What is Chipper Jones' given name? The answer is Larry Wayne Jones Jr. Larry Wayne. And he got his name because he is, a junior, and his father was Larry as well. And his father and other family members saw the younger Larry as a, quote, chip off the old block. Remember that? Chip off the old block, old Larry Jr. So they started calling him Chipper. So Chipper Jones, chip off the old block. What an awesome guy. Love that guy. He's a legend. He's just cool. So, yeah, there's your trivia answer. Thank you as always for listening. And you know what? As always, I end the show. I encourage you all to go out and make someone's day today. It's Friday. Enjoy it. Get a smile on your face. You're that much closer to the weekend. You're that much closer to 2 entire days, to 48 hours of being able to do whatever the hell you want and not have to work. It's great. And if you do have to work over the weekend, thank you. My gratitude is out to you because not many people want to work on weekends, but you're doing it, and I applaud you for that, and I hope that you are successful in doing so. So go make someone's day today. Be of service in the world. Show some gratitude. Give a smile. Give a compliment. Do an anonymous good deed. Go out of your way. Yeah, do an anonymous good deed. Do something for someone else, but don't seek credit for it. That's how you really know that you are a champion, and you are a champion in my heart. You always will be. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great, safe weekend. Thank you as always. Love you. Till next time.